So it's week 3 of the painting glass project, and I'm going to call it a day this week. So next week is a new month anyway. So the theme for October that was chosen was autumn. So if you want to do something on an autumn theme, that's what I'll be demonstrating. So it could be if you've got any kind of photos, autumn references, or you could set up an autumn themed still life, something like that. If you fancy doing that, so that'd be October. In November, I'll do a little bit on lino printing for anybody that wants to do lino printing, and then the other theme alongside that, if anybody wants to do that, is it's sort of fruit and vegetables, but looking at sections of, so maybe cutting them up and creating interesting still lives. I mean this, so it's another still life. I always think the still life's really nice to work on. I think it's great, to look at, work from things quite directly. I always find that more exciting myself. This setup, I actually started on Tuesday in the Tuesday class, and the light has changed obviously radically. It's a different place. And then this morning I sort of darkened all this, darkened some of this because it was a lot darker here. And now the light is just fantastic at the moment. It's just really interesting, completely changed again. So I'll add a little bit to this and maybe a bit here, but what I'm actually seeing here is a really bright bit of light and reflection. So this is acrylics I'm using. I'm just thinking this little bit of reflection and light here. I want to start with just a little bit of almost like a kind of peachy colour. Try and get a sense of that. It feels like a very warm light. Just something a little bit orangey surrounding the highlight. And then let's get another brush, and then just a little bit of pure white or a warm white. White with a tiny bit of yellow is nice, so that it's not too stark. Like that, and there's actually a little bit of the blues light around there too, so just lighten that. Could be some nice bright light here. So acrylics it's a very quick drying medium, which can be quite frustrating, but it can also be quite useful, particularly if you want one bit to dry and then another bit to go to the top. Something like that. A bit bright like that. The can, I feel like I need to paint that really from the top down just to get a sense of the whole thing. Otherwise be left with a hole. So it's enough. This bit is in shadow, so a kind of warmish grey. A bit of water in there. And then this bit's in more shadow. So I'll make a grey with blue and brown. Perhaps too dark. One of the downsides of acrylics I find is that they dry a little bit darker than how they are wet. So that sometimes you need to adjust the tones a little bit. And then a bit bluer. I can see bits of blue reflected, which are probably the backcloth. Make that a little bit darker and bluer there. A bit lighter again. There. quite a dark shadow under there. Just wash that in. So that's using the paint quite thinly, but actually that's quite nice picking up. It's a bit of an old board this and quite textured, but actually quite interesting to paint on because I can pick up a little bit of the texture of the board.
I love it when that happens.
It's quite, yeah, it can be quite effective, and I quite like to be able to use all the different ways. You can use the paint like quite thinly, quite thickly.
Yeah.
I don't always like it to be all completely opaque.
Yeah. You gave me a board like that when I was painting a boat once, and it really made it look rusty without any effort.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. It's something I was thinking I quite like to experiment with, maybe make more textures in my boards before I start painting.
Yeah.
It can be quite good. And then the bit I really like is all this blue cloth collected. I think that probably needs to go a bit darker already, but I'll just go onto the cloth again. So it's really quite light and slightly turquoisey blue. So I'll add a little bit of yellow to it. It's really quite bright there. Maybe brighter still. Blue. So I think something like that, but the rest needs to go darker. So I've mixed two blues and a little bit of brown, so it's not too intensely. So put that more like that. I'm going to ignore the label. And that's the sort of thing I'm seeing there. And the hair, just smudge that a little bit with my finger. A little bit lighter. That's another thing I quite like to do, is put a dark colour in and then paint a light one to it.
Oh, excuse me.
And it does give quite a different effect because you're sort of painting into dark paint. So that's something that works quite well with oil paints and works well with acrylic. Is that enough if I leave it there?
What was that last bit, sorry?
Yeah, sort of painting a dark colour and then painting a lighter colour into it. Yeah.
Why does it work best?
Yeah, I think if I just put the light on, the sort of lighter blue on its own, and so if I put it there, it'd just be too light, but somehow just, yeah, pop in, they just come out more somehow.
So it's more useful to have the dark first.
Yeah, yeah. I think with oils I do this all the time. I always paint darks and then gradually lighten up.
Interesting.
I don't know if I did this one I did yesterday. I don't know if I did that. Probably some of these areas that are dark on this one. I probably did some darks and then lightened up a bit. And I think in the buildings too.
Yeah.
A bit. But it's quite a nice way to work. It has a nice feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Good. So yeah, next week, as I say, new project next week.